one question I find myself asking time and again is that where are all the people walking? It seems that no one walks these days. You know, the most primal and fundamental movement pattern there probably is to humans isn't really being engaged in anymore, and that's a real problem to me. You only have to look at the scenario to understand why it is the way it is. You know, people commute to work by public transport, or they might drive into work. They then sit at their desk in their office all day, work really hard, perhaps get stressed out with their workload even, come home, and then all they want to do is crash out, veg out in front of the TV, and then it's a cycle, a routine of that way of being. At no point is there any consideration to moving the body, getting up and using the body in the way it was designed to move at the most basic level. And that's a common scenario for a lot of people who tell me that they don't do any form of physical activity when I'm having a conversation with them, and it's clear that that's what they need to be doing, that they're not doing any physical activity, let alone something that's so basic like walking. And they have many reasons for saying that that's the way things are for them, obstacles to their exercise, such as not finding the time or not having the time to exercise, not being able to afford a gym membership, not even knowing how to exercise. And one of the more common ones is people talk about the distance. They either come home from work and then the distance from home to the gym is too far, or the distance from their workplace to the gym is equally just as far, and they can't structure that into their routine, so they don't go. They're just several examples. It could be a combination of many of those put together and others that aren't coming to my mind right now, but these are the common things that people tell me, all in an excuse, in my opinion, to not work out to any degree. But here's the thing: exercise in terms of walking requires none of those things. You don't need to invest any money. You don't have to learn anything. Walking is an innate skill in all able-bodied people. You don't have to consider time. You can get up and go for a walk at any time of the day. You don't have to schedule specific times. It's flexible in that regard. Location isn't an issue, where people say that the gym is too far from home or too far from work to make it on a regular basis. Step outside the front door, whether it's at home or at work, and you're good to go. So that's the power of walking. It's completely flexible to modern life. And this is really why I wanted to make a video about the powers of walking in general, but also how that fits into the scope of where I see society as a whole right now. And then there are huge benefits to walking in itself. Things like increased metabolism, the sheer amount of muscles involved in that rhythmic pattern of walking, and the size of those muscles should let everyone know that calorie consumption is elevated dramatically from walking alone, especially for those that fall into that kind of scenario that I outlined, don't really do any exercise. To all intents and purposes, they are pretty deconditioned. Walking can bring about a huge metabolic demand in other ways, such as increased enzyme activity and placing a demand on the thermoregulatory system if people might be sweating in that instance of walking. As I said, especially to the degree that someone is more deconditioned than would be considered normal. What else? Walking is vital for aiding in venous return, and that is simply the return of blood back to the heart through the veins. It's a process that requires numerous different mechanisms to go hand in hand with that. One of those is movement through something known as skeletal muscle pump. Essentially, the contraction and the rhythmic contraction of the muscles around the veins aid with the shunting and the redistribution of the blood back to the heart. And what that will do is help with expelling waste products of metabolism, and then helping with the deoxygenated blood that's flowing back to the heart to to be exposed to oxygen to provide the body with the vital nutrients that it needs to function. So it's a vital component and can easily be enhanced through walking alone. Stimulation of the internal organs, that same rhythmic contraction of those major muscles through walking have a massaging effect on organs within the body. An example of that is how the digestive process is aided in terms of peristalsis, which is the contraction of the digestive tract to move food along it, can easily be aided through gross muscle activation in walking, leading to a more efficient and effective digestive system. And then there's having all that work together to provide better and more balanced mental and emotional well-being. The body is a system of systems, which means it's designed to work as a unit to bring about the best in the individual. So, needless to say, where there's improvements in such things that I've outlined, it will ultimately raise one's mental focus, clarity, and just their mental balance and well-being in general. Now I want to tie this all into exercise as a whole, because I'm well aware that I've done previous videos and written previous articles on the need for resistance training and how I see that as a fundamental aspect and element to having a healthy body and promoting weight loss and then sustaining that weight loss and having weight management. And also how I've spoken about cardiovascular exercise not being the smartest way to do those things. I'm well aware of those comments that I've made and those videos and articles that I've written, and I stand by those. I'm coming at an angle of what I kind of started out with people that do know structured exercise. And there are millions of people that are in that position. I'm taking it as a given that if people aren't doing any structured exercise, going by my experience with clients over the 10 plus years that I've worked with people, that they are in a very deconditioned state. So their fitness levels are low and or they have substantial weight to lose. So that level of work, i.e. walking, is sufficient to place a demand on the body that will bring about the changes that I've mentioned already, with the benefits such as increased metabolism and so on. And with those things will then come the ability to shift weight from that. So those profound changes from going from a point of stagnation and doing very little for yourself to just engaging in regular walking will make the world of difference. So that's the angle I'm coming from. When people are in that position, when they're in such a deconditioned state that just simply moving the body in the simplest of ways and the most basic and fundamental of ways in walking does have such a profound impact and ultimately helps them to lose some weight. Now that would be an initial response to engaging in moving the body. That wouldn't be something I would say is the be all and end all. At the very least, everyone should be walking to promote health and to integrate into a lifestyle around that. But there'll come a time when people are looking to lose weight and improve their health where they'll have to move past walking alone and then migrate to the other things that I've spoken about before, so the resistance training and so on. But for most people, that's too big a step to take, or not for most people, for a lot of people, that's too big a step to take at the beginning, from going from a deconditioned person doing nothing in terms of moving the body or very, very little to going to the gym and moving the body with weights is a step too far too soon. That is a progression that can be worked towards. So that is the point I'm coming from with walking, and the real take-home message for people who probably are in that position and watching this video. It is very much a start, a means to progression somewhere down the line. How I suggest you structure this is it's quite simple. Just get up, get out and move. Go for a walk as often as possible. I recommend daily walks of an hour every single day. As I've already outlined, walking is so flexible that there shouldn't really be any boundaries to it anymore. The only boundaries that there might still be are the ones that you create perhaps out of the feeling of not wanting to take on the responsibility to help yourself. And I don't mean that as any disrespect. I just speak honestly and openly from experience that if there is resistance, look at that and understand why it is that might be the case when it's from that point of view. As I said, an hour every single day would be fantastic. That would be my number one suggestion. If an hour at any given time is too much in terms of being able to manage your day, then break it down into 2 half-hour sessions. Go for a walk at any point. As I said, you can be at work, go outside, you can be at home, go outside, whatever it might be. But do that, and as I said, your health from point of being deconditioned with no fitness, very little movement in your life, your health will respond profoundly to that, and in return you will lose substantial weight from walking alone. But it's got to be seen as part of a program. It's not there to be done as and when you feel like it. You need to start getting into a routine of walking regularly. Daily is what I recommend. At the very least, I'll say this: if that seems like something that you can't or don't want to commit to, that level of work daily, then the very least you should be doing is incorporating walking into your daily routine as it is. So taking the stairs rather than the lift, up a level of the building or whatever it might be, parking the car further away from your end destination and walking the remainder of the way. Things of that nature. At the very least you need to be doing that, but sooner or later you'll begin to see the profound impacts of walking in itself, and hopefully that will be a motivating factor to want to do more of it, and then somewhere down the line looking to build upon that level of exercise with the more conventional exercises and forms of exercise that you might be used to thinking of and might be put off doing right now. Yeah, as always, the article to this video is in the information box below. Please subscribe and like this video, leave your comments, and write your suggestions. What do you want to see me write about in forthcoming videos and articles? My aim is to help you guys, but just remember that I prefer to speak on more generic topics because quite clearly I'm dealing to a large audience rather than the individual. If you want individual help, there are many ways to reach out to me to get that. Go to my website, weightlossexposure.com. You can contact me via email there. You can download the free chapters of my book, and so on. There are many ways to get individual help out there, but if you want generic help, I'm here to help with you guys via YouTube and via my articles. I think that's pretty much it for today's video. Thanks for watching, and get out, start walking. Do as much as you can. Thanks for watching.